Hey everyone, it is Brandy Ellen with your weekly dose of a cup of happy. A little bit of optimism or food for thought, if you will. So, this past week, one of the messages in God's Word, there's a book that we're reading, and it's one message a day that came through to a couple of people way back when, and supposedly the Holy Spirit was speaking to them. The people that were involved with the messages, their names are not in here. They wish to stay anonymous. And I will try to link to this book somewhere in a description, or you can reach out to me with my link in the bio about how to find this. Now, you could either be listening to this on YouTube, social media, or even a podcast outlet because this is going in multiple formats online. And today, I simply want to talk about how so many people are hurting in this world. And it's no wonder. So I believe, let's start with what I believe. Y'all want to hear it? Okay. So what I believe is there's too many variables to determine what is causing the pain in this world. At the end of the day, I believe there is all the variables have made our frequency, our vibration, our aura heavy. And it's no wonder. There's fear, there's anxiety, there's not knowing what tomorrow brings, or a lot of us have been raised or transformed or whatever the word is to not have anything outside of ourselves that matters more or that we could focus on, a project, if you will, in service to others. We haven't been taught, at least I wasn't taught to, and a lot of people I know were not taught, that a relationship is both of you in service to each other with open communication, meaning that you both talk, or at least you both figure out what you need from each other and make sure that that's something you can present in the relationship before you go ahead and get married and have kids, or have kids and then later get married, or have kids and never get married, right? Whatever works for you. I'm not here to preach what's right and wrong here. I'm not God. I am going to share that the shift that I've had in peacefulness has been more of a journey to get outside of myself. The more I focus on showing up and kind to others, and also picking a partner who I didn't mean to pick. I really just wanted to be alone here, volunteering my time to others, that communicates, talks, because one of the things I noticed, which people will say it's a trauma response, and I can see how they get there. It's possible, is that I became an empath or aware of my surroundings and the energies in my surroundings because from a young age, I had to predict, right? I had to predict an outcome without sharing too much about my teen parents and their troubles and woes because, I'm only knowing it from my perspective. It was a chaotic environment, and I'm sure it was chaotic before I even came out of the womb, okay? And therefore, my brain and my development has a heightened sense of energy around me, a heightened sense of aura, if you will. And so I can perceive the smallest or detect the smallest shift in energy. And if I'm with someone who can't communicate what that energy shift means to me in words, then I'm going to assume it's something. I'm going to assume it's anger. I'm going to assume it's upsetness. I'm going to assume it's judgment. And I'm going to immediately think that I did something wrong. It's just my inner child, thinking, oh my gosh, I'm a child and something's gone wrong. And this person obviously is so upset with me, right? This is old me. That's my habit. That's the pattern I had. But over the past, I don't know, half a year, a little longer, probably a year or so now, I have realized how wrong my perception is about the energy of someone else. Now, I might be understanding the emotion. For example, just last night, I was like, whoa, it's so cool being in an environment where you can actually ask these questions and someone doesn't look at you like you have 10 heads. They just say, oh yeah, I have that shift, but this is what it is, right? So I was sensing this shift of, gosh, what was it? It wasn't frustration. Maybe defeat or distraction. I think it was distraction. I could feel the energy shift with the other person to be like this distraction energy. And I said, what's distracting you? Is something distracting you? I'm sensing this distracted energy. And he was like, yeah. And he explained what it was. And I think that's pretty cool. How cool is that to be in an environment where you can say, hey, I sense this energy, and have the other person be like, yeah, this is what it is. I was just thinking about this and blah, blah. Because then there's two things that happen. One, your communication grows stronger with this person, whether it's a business, a personal relationship like a marriage or whatever, or just a friendship, right? These things matter. If you're someone like me who's sensing this energy shifts all the time, and then someone's telling you that nothing shifted in them, that their mind wasn't anywhere and that energy is not realistic, you start to feel a little like cuckoo. Well, what do you mean? I'm sensing it. I know it's real. It's got to be real. Like, I'm not imagining it. And that was the story of my life for many years. I felt crazy because people around me were saying, no, that's not what it is. There's no energy like that. And it's like, no, I really can sense it. I can sense this feeling. Now, the difference is I used to think it meant that I did something wrong. And now I've grown in that I can say, hey, I sense this distracted feeling or frustrated, and I can put a word to it and say, I'm not quite sure the word, but these are the words that it feels like. And I can say, I'm not saying it's something I did wrong, or maybe it is, but I'm not assuming it's something I did wrong or something that I caused. What is that feeling in you I'm sensing? Because then it also teaches the people around you to start being more aware, observing how they're feeling. And so not only am I growing as a person and as someone who's able to read energies or feel, I'm more of a feeler, I feel energies. I'm also helping other people around me grow and be more observant of what's going on in their head. And the more self-reflective we get, and the less egoic we are, meaning the less we have to identify with who we are, the less we force ourselves to be what we think we are, the more we just step back and go, I'm feeling this way, it's not a big deal. Or I'm feeling this way, isn't that interesting? What is it to cause that feeling, and how can I work through it? Be curious, right? A curious observer. You start to be a kinder person in service to others. But what we have today are a lot of people who are in their ego, who are not pausing, who are living in fear constantly, who are living in anxiety constantly, who are so enthralled with picking up their phone, their computer, whatever it is, starting their day on social media. I'll tell you right now, if I start my day on Facebook, I'm instantly going to go down. And I don't even have a lot of negative people. I actually have a lot of happy, positive people on my feed online, yet even with their happiness, something is kind of sucking me dry because I'm being more focused on their life than my own. Because I'm thinking and comparing that their life is so happy and wonderful and they make all these good choices, and how dare, not how dare they, but yeah, sometimes I might think envious thoughts, right? Because I'm a human and I have those moments where I'm like, why do people love these people? Why do all of these people treat this person so good when they've made worse mistakes than me, or they've made the same mistakes as me, and they've hurt others the way I have in my life? What gives them more forgiveness than me? That is very normal to feel that way in your life, my dears, but you don't have to. Don't live in the comparison game, right? Some people don't have a guilty conscience like you and I have. What is that light? Huh. I can see it. Can you see the light flickering? So some people don't have a guilty conscience. They don't think of others and how they're feeling, making others feel, and that's okay. But if you're feeling like you're living in your ego and someone does something wrong and you want to jump down their throats, I just want you to pause for a second and ask yourself how you can show up better. There's a couple of reasons for this. One, you're going to be a better person. You're going to be more well-rounded. You're going to be calmer. And you're going to be confident that you're showing up as your best self in that moment. And the other thing is you're protecting your life. Because these days, it doesn't take much for someone to literally punch you in the face or bring a knife or a gun or whatever it is to this fight and not think and just react. Because we have been transitioned, trained, brainwashed, whatever word you want to put there. Oh, giddy. To be more emotionally driven, emotionally reactive, than to pause and ask God, what would Jesus do, right? What would Jesus do? We used to ask those questions. What would God do? What would my grandmother do? What would my great-grandmother do? My great-grandmother, oh my goodness, she was a loving soul. And so today I want to remind you that people are hurting. You're not alone in your pain. You're not alone in your anger. But remember that, because when you forget and you think the world is what it was when you were younger, or even just 5 years ago, you are putting yourself in danger's path, because people aren't thinking. We are on social media, what detaches us from body language. It detaches us from the energy feeling, like I just said. And with so many people hurting and so many therapists trained now to be like, it's okay that you feel that way. How dare they? And I'm not putting therapists down. I've had amazing therapists, but there are some therapists that have been trained to coddle people. And so in turn, I want to remind you that Ezekiel has something to say. I want to remind you that the world is not the place it once was. And if you can start doing a timeout to yourself, spending a little bit of time out in nature, spending a lot of time away from social media, and the next time someone upsets you, don't scream and yell at them. Don't say F you. Don't tell them what a jerk they're being. They don't need you to define their behavior. How about you define your own behavior? You define yourself. You decide how you're going to show up. Because the moment you change how you show up is the difference between life and death these days, and also the difference between peace and chaos in your soul. So while it's easy to get upset with people that act amok and do stupid things, we all do. We all do stupid things. I'm inviting you today to know that the world is broken between social media, our poor eating habits, our poor habits of social media and detaching from the real world, our ability to think we're so right. I was once thinking I was so right and reading the room and the energy, and I just knew what that meant. I don't have a clue. You have to ask somebody, hey, I noticed you feel a little off today. Is that a sense of distraction, frustration? What is it? I'm not saying that it's my fault. And if it is, let me know. But I just think you seem a little off today. Are you okay? Is there something you want to talk about? I'm here to listen. Or on the positive note, be like, hey, you seem really joyous today. What's going on in your life? Tell me about it. I want to hear your good news. Okay? Don't just focus when someone's down and out. Ask them how they're doing and that joy you sense off of them. And why are you so joyous today? I'd love to know your secret, right? Why are you so peaceful and calm today? Could you share some tips with me? I'm struggling having peace within my soul. The more we are curious in our life and allow others the opportunity to explain what's going on with them, the more connected we become with strangers and with people that matter in our life, right? And that's what this world is about, connection. And so, extroverted or introverted, we all need to feel connected to people in our world. And so I'm asking you today to ask more questions, observe more often, and to count to 10 before you respond to any situation. Sending you much love, happiness, and a little prayer that you got something from this message today, because the light flickering for some reason and the dog barking shifted my energy, and so I'm not quite sure if the message landed properly today. I simply just want you to take more pause and observe how you're feeling and step away from the internet more and get out there in the real world a bit more, because I know my internet experiences versus real life experiences are completely different. And I just want other people to kind of give those two different opportunities a chance. So sending you much love. You can go to blissitall.com or brandyellen.com. If you're looking to get your life story written this year, we have an editor, my partner, and a ghostwriter, me, on the team at nekpress.com, Northeast Kingdom Press up here in the Northeast Kingdom of Vermont. We would be more than happy to help you get your story out this year, or whatever message comes to you that you feel the world needs to hear. Let us help you spread your message, because I know y'all have more to say than I have to say, and I'd love to help you spread the word of what your experiences are and what you learned in this lifetime. We all have wisdom to share. It's time you shared yours. Mwah. Much love, Brandy Ellen. Peace out. Have a beautiful day, y'all.